Dad's Drink Show. Dad's Drink Show. Dad's Drink Show. Dad's Drink Show.
Hey!
That will never get old.
We have a show? Do we have a show going on?
I believe so. According to the audio, it's Dads with Drinks, Jeff.
It's a Dads and Drink show. Well, welcome to episode 2 of the Dads and Drink show. I'm trying to regulate my drinking. I'll be honest, like the first episode I'd been drinking for like 90 to 120 minutes. That's like 1.5 to 2 hours. Today I've been drinking for about 5+ solid hours. So, hey,
Look,
it's the show, guys.
Look, we respond to viewer feedback. And I mean, one of the things we got during our live audition was that we were supposed to be more drunk. So, Jeff, I appreciate you for taking the initiative and spearheading this. Now, let's see how you navigate this train of destruction.
Oh, I keep forgetting I have to navigate this.
I just get to ride along. I have a feeling that's going to change. I have a feeling that's going to change after this episode. I'm going to have to learn to drive this thing.
oh yeah. We need a pinch hitter for the drunk. Hey, cleaning the housekeeping items out of the way. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment. I do think at the end of this, we will certainly not remember, but we don't have a theme for next week's episode.
Ooh.
Yet. So maybe we'll put it up to the public. So I don't know. There's all those social medias are down in the show notes. I know I did that when I was sober. Anywho,
that's because you're a professional, Jeff. It's because you're a professional.
I can't even say the word.
And away she goes.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. We are officially off the rails. I love it. Let's go.
Cheers, buddy.
Yes, sir.
So we've got a theme for today's episode as well. We'll see if we get to it here. I got to put my drink down and control my mouse. I've got I live in Florida. I've got a goddamn bug flying around that annoys me. God damn it.
I'm surprised we can't see it on the screen. I thought in Florida, look, the one like small period of time I spent in South Florida, I was surprised at the amount of random lizards that you have in South Florida. Like nowhere else that I visited in the United States has random lizards. Like you're in the backyard and they're just running through. And mosquitoes.
Lizards aren't normal everywhere?
No, that is a South Florida. That is absolutely just you. That is hanging out by the pool.
Oh, that's all?
Look. Yeah, no, that's all you guys. Like, nowhere else but.
Wait, are you also going to tell me that alligators don't occasionally just sneak into your kitchen?
Only in the zoo, my friend. Like, well, if you keep them as pets, but again, that's Florida, man. Florida is the first place I've ever seen an alligator be used as a weapon for armed robbery.
Oh, yeah. That Wendy's had it coming. Just gonna say. That reminds me, that's a segment that we haven't done yet. That we're gonna start doing the Florida Man.
Yes, we need to bring Florida Man back. Yeah, there's too much there not to be. Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's kick off this episode with the main theme. Last week it was blind dates, right? And this week it's maybe worse than that. I don't know. Let's see how this plays with my drunk face controlling it.
That wasn't going to happen, but I didn't expect him to be a dick. Usually they're not. I feel like in my experience, doctors are polite, almost overly polite, where it's phony and condescending. When they go, oh, really interesting story you got there. Doctors do that because you're telling them a story, and doctors don't want to hear a story. Doctors want to hear, this hurts. Not, I was over at my friend Charlie's house, and we went to move the ottoman. And I mean, you can use it as a coffee table, or you could use it as an ottoman. It's up to you. And your doctor's like, I want to blow my fucking brains out right now. I go in there, I sit on the exam table, which is my least favorite table to sit on in the world. It's the only table that in 30 years I've sat on where my feet don't touch the ground. So I feel like a fucking toddler waiting like... My doctor comes in. He doesn't say hello. He doesn't say good morning. He just walks in. He points at me, which is super aggressive, you know, to start a conversation with somebody like, hey, man, you're something hair? And I go, what? And he goes, do you want something for your hair? I don't get it. And he goes, has nobody told you that your hair's falling out? And I was like, damn. No. And he goes, oh, sorry.
I mean, first of all, let me just comment on how follically privileged I am. You know, we talked about dating apps. You look like you look like you got hair up there too.
I got the widow's peak running away. They tell me it's from baseball caps. So now my only choice is to continue wearing baseball caps.
I mean, look. I got a widow's peak too, but I've just got a mountainous level of hair.
Dude, you've got the Italian hair. Like, no, it's just a full, thick head of hair. Like, I've
got the eye of the tiger.
Way more than Segura does.
Oh yeah. His Peruvian roots are cursing him. I think he's Peruvian.
Yes. Look, we'll share the notes of this, but it's great that that's what they start with. Like, you're there for something completely different. He's like, you want something for the hair? You're like, no.
Oh my god. Yeah. We're gonna dive into this. We're gonna dive into doctor's visits. This is
yes, sir.
Oh my god.
All right. Then he pulls my chart out of the slot, super dramatic, so that it makes a fucking noise. He goes, and he goes, wow. And I'm like, really? Wow. Is it full-blown AIDS? Like, why is it wow? And he goes, you weigh 245. And I go, like, yeah, like I knew that shit.
I weigh 286.
I'm hovering around a deuce and yeah, I'm trying to stay under that. I'm gonna go 215.
There we go. That's my honest weight. No. Actually, 282. 282 is my honest weight.
Is that with or without the headphones?
Oh, without the headphones, I'm 212. But these are heavy fucking headphones.
They look like it. You're holding it together well.
My neck is so goddamn strong.
They have a machine for that in the gym. Have you seen that?
Yeah. It's actually called the Jeff Macolino neck headphone stabilizer.
Look, I thought it was designed for the guys back in the PED era, right? When Barry Bonds was like, I just lift a lot of weights. I'm like, I haven't seen the machine that makes your head grow.
It was designed for me for these 60-pound headphones. I'm basically a bodybuilder of sort.
Working out while you're doing a show. That's just dedication, Jeff. That's just dedication.
You want your spleen and liver to grow.
Oh,
Tom, take it over.
And he goes, you weighed 230 last time you were here. Not exactly what I would call weight loss. And I'm like, are we at a fucking roast or something? Right? Like, what are you doing? Then he says, you know, you're the fattest patient I've seen all day. And I go, it's 9:30 in the morning. And he goes, still. He's like, you know, we ran your blood work. It turns out your muscle enzymes are through the roof. And I go, yeah, man, like, I'm super strong. Like, how is that a problem? And he goes, they're off the charts. I'm like, even better. I'm probably your strongest patient, man. And he goes, I don't think you understand muscle enzymes. And I go, that's true. I don't know what they are. And he goes, well, the only way you could have them this high would be like, A, if you were an Olympic athlete, which clearly, you know, I'm like, dude, what is the deal, man? And he goes, the other way would be if you were a cocaine addict. And I go, I don't do coke. And he goes, I'm your doctor. You don't have to lie to me. And I go, I'm not lying. And he goes, I can't treat you if you're not going to be honest. And I go, hey, man, aren't cokeheads skinny? Isn't that like part of the deal? And he goes, usually, yeah. The nurse comes in. She takes my chart out of his hands and she goes, oh, my God. His muscle enzymes are so high. Maybe he runs marathons. And my doctor goes, look at him. So at this point, I go, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me today. I'm going to leave now. And he goes, all right. And he goes, oh, hold on a second. Do you have a ring on your finger? And I go, yeah. And he goes, you're married. And I go, yeah. And he goes, to a guy? And I go, no. And he goes, oh, I thought you were gay. And I go, why? And he goes, oh. I'm like, all right, dude. And he goes, hey, I'm just kidding. And I go, that's fine. He goes, but check it out. And he takes my chart and he shows it to me. And he had written gay ? On my medical chart. The thing that gets sent to other doctors has his inside, maybe he sucks cock joke written on it. I went home. I told my wife, she's like, oh my God, what are you going to do? And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I mean, are you ever going to go back there? I'm like, are you out of your mind? That's the funniest fucking doctor in the world. Of course I'm going back there.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
It was all right, huh?
Dude. I just love, look, I've been in that situation in a doctor's office where, like, clearly you have no idea what muscle enzymes mean. No, you're right. That's probably the strongest patient you've seen all day.
Yeah, well, your test for this was off the charts. It's like, yeah, I knew I was gifted.
Right.
No, that's not a good thing.
Dude, you're the fattest patient I've seen all day. It's like, it's 9:30 still.
I think I could win that competition like most days. I've got I've got so many awkward doctor stories that I want to tell, and I'm like, I don't know where to start. There could be a finger up my asshole.
I haven't gotten there yet.
You haven't got there. You're 10 years older than me.
Yes, sir.
So I went to a doctor who it was my mom's primary care physician. And somehow I got lucky enough to go to this woman who frankly was the best doctor I've ever had. Well, yeah, going. Thank God it was a woman doctor. Otherwise, I'd be gay.
Is that how it works? I think that's how it works.
Sure. There's nothing wrong with being gay.
There's anything wrong with that?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
So your mom's primary care physician
Yes.
And how
so
at 10 years younger than me do you end up getting a prostate exam before I do?
Well, it was part of her annual physical. And this was like almost 10 years ago.
Right.
Like,
No, there's an age limit on this, Jeff. Like, if she's doing this at an earlier age, it's just because she likes it.
All right. Well, she likes shoving her little finger up my ass.
No, I'm just saying, most doctors, isn't it like, I mean, I'm close to that. I'm like 45. So I'm right in that age range where I've got to get that done. But if a doctor works it into their yearly exam prior to 45, I think
You've never had a finger up your ass?
No, not in a doctor's.
Well, I didn't ask whether it was at a doctor's office.
Well, okay, right. I mean, she was a nurse.
Earlier
She was a nurse.
tonight.
Does that count?
I mean, depending how medicinal it was. But
Okay.
it was always so awkward because her finger's like smaller than my pinky. Like, and it was like, I'm going to lube it up and I got a glove on. Try not to fight it. It'll hurt more. And I'm like, oh, no. I couldn't sit down right for a week. And it was like this up my ass. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't, if I brush my back molars too aggressively with my toothbrush, I vomit. And something the size of this meant I couldn't sit down for a week.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes I believe
Right.
God makes you gay or straight. And
right. I was gonna say
he didn't give me a goddamn choice.
Right. For all those who say you didn't have a choice, you didn't have a choice, Jeff. You were chosen. You were the chosen. But I do wonder about that though, right? Because again, it's I've always had older friends, so they've always warned me of those colonoscopies and the prostate exams and the whole deal. But I'm just now getting to the cusp of that. So I'm serious. If there's a doctor who works this into her younger patients, that's just a fetish at that point. Like there's no medical reason for that. Okay, early detection. But how early? Like my son's 7. You don't need to go rooting in his
I mean, so when the new doctor, so she actually got promoted into like some administrative role at a hospital. So the guy who took over her practice. Eventually, I'm like, all right, I'm an obese, heavy drinker. I gotta go to the doctor, and I go and. This dude is like 6'5". He shakes my hand, and I've got humongous hands. I got a humongous head. Like look at my hands compared to my head. They're gigantic hands. He made my hands feel like I was a little child shaking a coconut tree or something. I don't know. I'm just like. One of his fingers up my ass means I'm going to be dead. I'm literally going to die today at this office visit.
You're like,
I
hey,
shake
Doc.
his hands. It's like, this is like a Shallow Hal line where he met Tony Robbins in the elevator.
Yeah.
It's like shaking a handful of bananas. It was like... One of these bananas is going up my ass.
Immediately, you're like, hey, Doc, not for nothing, but you got her notes, right? Like, I'm good. We're good back there, right?
You
check that out?
He's doing the physical, and then at some point he says, did Dr. blank, did she give you a rectal exam every year? And I'm like, yes. He's like, well, you actually don't need that until you're like 50. And I'm like,
it was her fetish. She absolutely loved it.
He's like, but all of her patients, except for me and a couple other people, were like all of her patients were super geriatric old. Like my mom was like the third youngest patient she had. And he's like, so we don't need to do that. And do you know what my immediate response was to that? No, my immediate response was, what if I paid extra?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I know we don't have to, but I'm just saying. Look,
He didn't find the joke funny.
Look, I was trying to think of what it reminded me of. Have you watched Letterkenny? Letterkenny on Hulu, right? There's that episode,
yes.
Right? There's one episode where there's a new doctor who comes into town, and it's like the small Canadian town, and they all go in to get their yearly checkup, and the first person who goes in realizes this doctor does a rectal exam, and there's the great like scene in the waiting room where all the other guys are realizing that no matter what, they're getting a rectal exam, and it's the whole conversation of like, do I stay? Do I not? Like, oh.
My son here we're hitting on the dads a little bit here. My son broke his wrist during COVID.
Oh wow.
Not at my house, at his mother's house, because he wouldn't
because it's her fault. No.
Yeah, pretty much. But the hospital would not allow masks and blah 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 blah. All the phantom fun that happened during COVID at the crisis time. And my son's wrist's broken and he wants me there, but I can't be there. So I'm FaceTiming with him and I'm talking to him, and the doctor, the nurse, whatever, is like, we're gonna give you some Dilaudid. I'm like, ooh, shit. Can you get some of that? Can you get some of that to go?
Right.
Can I come get some of that? And my son's laughing, and the nurse is like, how dare you? And I'm like, you cunt.
Right. Like,
how dare you?
Wait.
How dare you? My son finds it funny. He's got the broken arm. You're a stupid cunt.
Look, I'm glad you mentioned this part.
Many times?
No, keep rolling it in, because when they deserve it, they deserve it. When it's said, it's meant to be said just convincingly. Look, it's funny you mentioned this though, right? Because it was around the same time. I think there's a definitive. There's a role that dads and moms fall into, right? And it's funny you kind of mentioned, we talked about earlier with nurses or whatever, but generally I find that mothers are much better at triage, right? They're better at like handling the initial part of whatever happens, but the dad is the guy who has to handle the end game. You know what I'm saying? I go back to like, your son wanted you when it's time to get the wrist set or whatever it was. Like, my son is 7 years old. The first like injury he had, and it was again during the COVID era, and his mom was like, watched way too much TLC, so she thought she could like rehab this house she bought. So it's just strewn with like rehab, just tools that should be nowhere near a 6-year-old at the time. And so my son finds a wallpaper scraper and he drops it, and it falls on the top of his foot. And of course, wallpaper, yeah, right? Gush, done, right? Now, had it been a room full of dads,
toe off.
Right? Okay, so it hit the top of the foot. Had it been a bunch of dads, we would have known nothing about what to do at this point. But luckily, there was a house of like 7 moms. So 7 moms knew how to address the wound. They were all there, her friends, and they all went running around and they addressed everything and they got it bandaged up and they got him into the car for me to eventually take him to actually get stitches, right? But again, it was if that would have been a room full of dads, like, he would have lost his foot. If there was a house full of dads, we would have not known how to address the wound. There would have been no covering of anything. It would have just been amputation. That's all we got. Like, it's a distinct look. Women and men, whatever, roles and roles. Okay, I mean, it is what it is, and there's a certain nature of what that is. Women are nurturers. They take care of the initial part. But when it comes down to like, this sucks, but you got to go through it, that's kind of a dad role, isn't it not? I mean, that's kind of the dad role of like, you just got to suck it up and get through this one, because mom has a tendency to maybe go through that a little soft, whereas dad has no idea how to go through the beginning part.
Well, Yes, except for I do think the panic gene, and I don't think this is a gender role. I think some people have the gene of my son playing football, flag football,
Mhm.
comes to the sideline and his pinky is bent sideways.
Mm.
And he's like, and I'm like, all right, this might hurt, but
Oh.
I'm gonna fix this. And his teammates are looking at this, and one of them's like, I'm gonna throw up. And I'm like, go ahead and throw up. My son's
Yeah.
not a pussy like you. And I'm like, all right, just don't look. Don't look. And pop.
Oh.
And it took a few times, actually.
Mm.
And he's like, ah. And then he's like, all right, it's better. And I'm like, all right, go back in there.
Dude, Jeff, I have to take notes because I literally was telling the story earlier tonight. We had our second Little League baseball game yesterday, and my son's playing shortstop. Okay, these kids are 6 to 8. Okay. A ground ball gets hit to my kid at short. I'm not even sure the ball was still technically rolling when it got to him at shortstop. I mean, it had died that much. Right. But it went up his leg. And my son went into full-blown, like, Othello. He's selling. He's like, oh, he's dropping. The other coaches are running out. And now all the other parents are like, they're overly dramatic about my child. And I know this ball is literally going like a mile an hour when it hit his leg. And I know my kid. But I got to look like the asshole because everybody else is like, hey, guys, take a knee. I'm like, no, don't take a knee. I'm like, dude, that was barely moving when it
walk
even
it
got
off.
To you. Right. I'm like, hey, if it was a hot shot, I'd be the first guy on you. Be like, come on, get up. Like, and he's looking at me and I'm like, stand up. And he's grabbing the wrong leg at this point. He doesn't even know which leg's supposed to be hurt anymore. I need just a little bit of that Macolino juice, buddy. I need the kid who's just going to turn his head when the pinky is bent, because my boy will absolutely look for any reason to play the role.
Wait a couple years, but his pinky was bent this way.
Oh,
and I was the offensive coordinator, and I made sure the next 3 plays we were throwing passes to him.
That a boy. How old's your son?
And he's 10.
Okay, all right. That's about the age.
And he caught them. One was an adventure. It was tipped. It was, but I don't think it was a finger issue. But yeah, he. It's like let's throw the ball. Let's throw the ball to the guy whose pinky's been sideways. Man up. That's what I said.
Well, I know we're taking a little bit of an off track on this, but this is how this goes, right? I was actually talking about earlier. It was like both of us are dads, and so we have our kids part-time, right? And so we get to instill in them the dad version of whatever the kid is supposed to have. And then in the mom time, the mom gets to instill the mom time. And I'm finding like it's a weird thing, right? I mean, it's like if you have the two together in that perfect nuclear family where you have the mother and the father and they're together, then you get the soft side and the hard side and they're together. But when they're completely separate, like it's a weird position. Like when my son's with me, he's way different in how he handles things than he is when he's with his mother and he handles things. And that's not a knock. She's a wonderful mom, dude. I am blessed to have a wonderful mother, my child, but she just kind of shows him a different angle. So it's kind of odd. I was just thinking about it in a completely like non sequitur sort of way today about how having the dad and the mom separate can skew that kid's view more than having them together, because together you get the yin and the yang. But when they're separate, you just get yin or you just get yang, and then you just got to kind of fucking figure it out in the middle. Like the poor kid is
then you've got an Asian child that you don't know what
whose eyes look much like yours right now, Mr. Macolino.
Oh yeah.
No, it's a different world,
I
man.
think it was my son who said, "Why did you have Asian eyes when you do that?" I'm like, all right. Hey, let's pop on to the doctor visit here. This
yes.
is
Hey, Diego.
awesome.
Nice to see you again.
Hello, doctor.
You here for your annual checkup?
Yes.
Good, good. Before we get started, how's everything been?
Still married, so pretty shitty.
Well, you know what they say. Secret to a happy marriage remains a secret.
That that doesn't help me at all.
Do you smoke?
No,
You sure?
no.
You're not sure.
I mean, I occasionally have like a cigarette or like a joint or crack.
It's a yes or no question.
Okay, yes.
You drink?
No.
Are you sure?
I mean, like casually, like at a party or a wedding or something like that. Or like my house, alone, every night.
What do you drink?
Just like a glass of wine at dinner,
Okay, that's healthy.
and then a shot of tequila,
Okay.
and then another shot,
Um,
and then a few more, and then some more, and then I usually pass out, and I wake up, and I take a few more.
so the answer is yes.
Yeah, I drink.
Do you take any drugs?
No.
Are you sure?
I mean, like, occasionally I'll smoke a little weed here and there. Like, I'll do a little blow at a party, some shrooms, nothing crazy.
Yes or no?
Yes, I take drugs.
Any prescription pills or over-the-counter medicine?
No.
You sure?
I mean, like, I take like Advil, Motrin, Tylenol.
I just need to.
Look,
I can't stop.
look, no, Jeff, this might look suspiciously like my last doctor's appointment. Exactly.
Mine too. Mine too.
Like, yeah, I know where this is going. Advil, Motrin, Tylenol, Dilaudid, Percocet. Yeah.
Well, I do remember last time they're like, "Do you take any regular drugs?" I'm like, "No. Like nothing ever." I'm like, "Well, what drugs do you mean?" "Oh, any daily prescriptions or other recreational drugs." I'm like, "Oh, recreational drugs. That's a different story."
We all turn into Bill Clinton. I mean, what do we mean regularly? I mean, if it's 3 times a week, I mean, is that really regular?
What do you mean it is?
What is? I mean, really?
All right. I'll let the awkward puppets, great.
Stuff like that.
How often?
Every time my wife talks to me,
Why?
because I know it's gonna give me a headache.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Diego, are you a stressed person?
Me? No, not at all.
How's your wife?
Okay, I'm stressed.
You engaging in sexual activity?
No.
You sure?
I mean, like, occasionally, like on our anniversary, stuff like that.
And this activity is with your wife? Well, whoever you're having sex with, are you using protection?
I don't like guns.
I mean, a condom.
Oh, yes.
Are you sure?
I mean, there are exceptions.
How many exceptions?
I can't remember
Why can't you remember?
because I drink,
Why do you drink?
because I'm stressed.
And what do you do when you're stressed?
Prescription drugs.
And what causes the stress?
My wife.
Well, Diego, if it isn't obvious already, I'd say the source of the problem is pretty apparent.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Obviously, the biggest problem in your life is...
I don't drink enough.
What?
What?
Yes, sir.
All right.
They say comedy is born from reality. That's just what it is, right? And I think both you and I can speak to this in a small thing of our awkward puppets. The difference between the dating and the marriage phase, boy, it's completely different. And I mean, we can't speak from the woman's perspective. We can't. But from a man's perspective, literally, man, everything changes. Like everything changes. I cannot believe that there is one man who is married today who was like, that's what I signed up for. Not one. There can't be, right? I don't think any man entered into marriage thinking what he has today was what he signed up for. Zero chance.
I mean, my next ex-wife, I think I'm going to love her.
Look, I just think I'm going to be a little better prepared going into the situation next time. That's all. I won't expect all of my. What's really funny is I remember prior to getting married, all of my friends who had been divorced at this time, because again, I have older friends. Throwback. They were like, "You really sure about this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, man. No, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful." And they're like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's great. No, they were right. Like they were trying to foreshadow my story, but I wasn't listening because I hadn't walked that yet." I'm just saying, like it's. I think there's two different views on where you want to go.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's you know what? I apologize. I just had an outpouring of screaming because I live across the street from a high school.
Oh no.
And apparently something happened over there.
Let's just hope. Well, I'm not going to say it because that would be awful. Hopefully it was something
It
joyous.
was a sporting event. It was a sporting event.
Hopefully it was joyous.
It seemed joyous.
And there wasn't a manifesto involved. I said it, didn't I? I said it.
But we're gonna let that stew. All right. I think we have some other clips to play.
Yeah, let's keep rolling.
I'm so drunk. Let me see if I can.
You're doing a great job navigating this, by the way. I mean, seriously.
Thus far.
We're halfway through this thing, and I mean, I'm just saying, I can see the landing.
I'm glad you can. I'm glad somebody can. Let's see if this works.
Oh, back to Tom Segura. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever, by the way. Jeff, this is what we need right now. Just play this. I've got no volume. No. This can't be true. That's Bert Kreischer on the left and Bert Kreischer on the right. There just can't be.
Oh, that's absolutely.
So this is Bert Kreischer in Florida State when he was what magazine? What was it? Like what was the magazine that profiled him? Maxim? Or one of those? It was like a Maxim style. He was Van Wilder.
He was
the top
Van
party
Wilder,
guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he was Van Wilder. Yeah, Bert was Van Wilder. He was in school for that many years. But to bring Tom Segura full circle, roll him back, and there's no way that this is Bert Kreischer on the left and Bert Kreischer on the right. And if so, Jeff, it's a warning that all of us. Rolling Stone. Yes. Now, this is something that all of our listeners should adhere to, and both you and I should be monitoring closely, is the difference between left and right is about 60,000 Tito's and sodas.
I mean, I have thought of when you sent me that video, I did think of doing a before and after of me.
Oof.
And then I decided I didn't want to kill myself today.
Dude. I obviously have the Irish gene in me, so I'm already like just a pale guy that gets really red when I drink. And it goes back to our awkward doctor visits from before. I'm scared of doing physicals at this point because if you ask what my family history is, the answer is yes. Like high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, yep. Like which side? Yes, both of them. So yeah, but that's Tito's and soda. I thought vodka and soda, that's what the chick on the Atkins diet drink, because they say it's not going to make you gain weight. If Bert Kreischer looks like that after Tito's and soda, we're all in trouble, man.
He's got way more problems than Tito's and soda. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, I promise you he's got more problems than drinking. And look, he's a guy who I have actual problems with, because I don't think he drinks nearly as much as me. And I think he talks game like he does. I think I could drink Bert Kreischer under the table. And Bert Kreischer very, very publicly talks about having a nurse come and giving him an IV the day after he drank. Well, fuck you, you rich motherfucker, Richie Rich, Macaulay Culkin motherfucker. I drink and I wake up and I do my own shit. I don't get a fucking nurse IV. I'm not fucking rich.
When he was at Florida State, I'm pretty sure he didn't have an IV.
Yeah, he still couldn't drink. He still couldn't have drink me. Bert Kreischer. And here's one more thing. One last thing I gotta say. Because when I tell people how much I weigh, they're always like, oh my God, you weigh that much? And it's because assholes like Bert Kreischer, who's like taking his shirt off on stage, he's like, hey, I weigh 240 pounds. I'm 6'1". Now he's probably barely 6 foot, but that's not my point. My point is this. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he's like, hey, around my belly, I'm 47. And around my arms, I'm 19 or 18, whatever it was. And I'm like, this motherfucker's got identical measurements to me. And look, he looks like me on stage, too. But he says he's 240 pounds.
Are you calling bullshit on Bert Kreischer's weight?
No. He literally was like, yeah, and then I weighed myself, and I was 270 pounds. I hadn't weighed myself in a while. It's like, you motherfucker. Fat people don't weigh themselves. I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I'm 6'2", 280. And they're like, what the fuck, man? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fat. And they're like, no. I've seen people who are your size, and they say they weigh 270 pounds. I'm like, no, they're liars. They're fucking liars. They stop weighing themselves when they're fat. You just stop weighing yourself. I don't, because I'm like, I'm fat. I'm fat.
Look, I got to tell you, I was going to send the other Bert Kreischer clip when he was talking about when they went through the Sober November or whatever they do on Joe Rogan's podcast, Sober October. And he was like, the conversation comes up and Joe looks over at you and he's like, so how many drinks have you had? And like, I realized that I'm on like the world's biggest podcast. Like, I'm going to get found out. Like, I can't lie. Right. And he's I wanted to lie and say that I've been sober, but he was like, immediately when I say like how many drinks I've had, he was like, you can see the look in Joe Rogan's eyes when you die just a little bit. He's like, oh, I can't screw with a guy like this. Like, I can't imagine Bert Kreischer can go at this point. What, a couple weeks? I don't even know. I think it's more of an act at this point. Maybe, is that where you're getting at? Like, Bert's more of an act?
I mean, no, I just, he tries to pass himself off like some kind of superhero, but I'm fucking in this shit, living this shit. Like,
every day.
I'm better than you at drinking. I'm better than you at, I don't get IVs. I don't need no performance enhancing nurses.
You're doing this naturally, Jeff. You're doing this naturally.
I'm
Jeff.
here. Motherfucker. You test me, I'm going to take my shirt off.
Bert, you have been warned.
This is your Ernie. I'm gonna ruin you, motherfucker. You poser. All right,
Next.
we are off the rails because
Yes, sir.
I don't
Let's
know.
keep going.
One of us is way drunker than last time.
Both, maybe.
Maybe. Let's pop this. Let's pop this clip. This seems like fun.
Oh.
Sunshine, 60. Thursday, partly sunny skies, and 57. And to another woman who likes to be double-fisted in a different way, I think, Jess.
She means beer. She means beer.
On YouTube. My God.
Holy shit. Dude.
I mean,
She
we've all been there.
Jesus fuck. Poor Jess. Poor Jess who has to explain. She's like, let me toss it to
She means
another
beers.
girl. Right, yeah. Who likes being double fisted in another way. She's like, she means beer. The visual of Jeff. Just holy shit. Like, how savage must she think that the weather girl is? That she's throwing it back to her is like, I was out at happy hour last week. She loves being double. Oh, Jesus.
I love to paint. I love to paint a story where this broad's boyfriend has been like, I just can't get you off. And she's like, you're close. You're close.
Bro.
You know, it's not you, it's me. And then
Dude, look, our fucked up minds work in the same way because I'm just picturing the boyfriend who watched that awkward transition through everything, right? And is coming home. She's like, so did you watch the news tonight? He's like, yeah, no, it's good. So what she mean you like being double fisted? and now she's like, she was talking about beers. Oh, beers? Is that what she meant? Because she wasn't showing beer. Now she's defending herself.
I'll shove this up your ass.
So she's defending herself against loving to be double fisted because there's an insecure boyfriend who has the girl who's the local weather girl. Because local weather, I'm just telling you, I grew up in Western North Carolina, and the local news people, like Jeff, you're in Tampa, St. Pete, but a little bit larger, right? Do the local news people like carry a level of celebrity there? Like, is there a level of celebrity?
Well, I mean, we've got multiple sports franchises around here. Yeah, they
Right.
do.
Well, I'm just saying, like, where I grew up, like Western North Carolina, there were people that would literally start conversations with, like, oh, I saw blah, 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 who was like the local ABC news affiliate in Asheville, North Carolina. And it wasn't Christina Applegate. Like they were that was a big deal to them. They were like, I saw her at the grocery store, you know, like, so I'm just saying, if you're in a local small market media place and the weather girl throws it back to you with like, she likes to be double fisted, like that, I'm just saying the boyfriend's a little insecure. He's absolutely asking follow-up questions.
You like one of these? Or
Like,
one of these?
so what's she mean? He's like, she was talking about beers.
Or a couple
Oh,
of these.
Look, when they say two
Who
fingers
knows?
of Glenlivet's, what do they mean by two fingers?
It's just the
Shocker.
shocker.
Oh, I don't even know what that's.
This is the showstopper.
Oh, Jesus fuck.
Yeah. There you go.
That just get the fuck out of here.
Woo!
You get to that point, just tap out.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
All right. Last
All right.
effort. We're
Let's
going to
bring it back.
recommend a channel. and then we're gonna go goodbye.
Jeff needs to go goodbye.
Whew. Jeffy needs to go to bed.
Episode 2.
Whoa!
What do we got?
We're making it. So
We're
here
recommending tonight.
I'm gonna recommend a channel. I might edit this out of the video. We might make our first edit. No, I'm not gonna do that.
No, we're raw, Jeff. Double fisting. We're double.
I got a mustache hair on my tongue.
Raw, double fisted.
All right, we're gonna power through it. So I'm gonna recommend this channel. And look, this is a channel that's. So I had the guy who hosts this channel on my podcast, the Jeff Macolino podcast.
Dad's and Drink Show.
No, it was on the Dad's.
Oh, bring it back. I was trying to put another Dad's and Drink Show. All right.
Dad's and Drink Show.
But it's a recommended channel because I had this guy on my show, and then my words don't even work. Jeremiah, look at who the guest was on his podcast literally within 2 days of my podcast with him.
Done. Are we back to Magic Man? Are we back to Magic Man? Oh, no. 20 minutes of interviews. Dane Cook.
What's going on, everybody? You're tuning into another
Tim McCarthy with Dane Cook.
Today, I'm extremely happy to have on my next guest. He doesn't really need any introduction, but he's an actor and has been in Touch Films as Waiting, Employee of the Month, Good Luck Chuck, Simon Says.
But none of those for like 10 years.
Also a stand-up comic.
Dane Cook, go ahead.
Many accolades. Today, we have on the legendary Dane Cook. Dane, how the hell are you?
Still has the teased hair.
What's going on? Here we go. We finally made it.
We finally made it. Yeah, we've been talking for a bit. I can't thank you enough for taking.
Dane Cook, he's still there, right? He was so fucking huge for a minute, man.
He's still huge. And look, the 22 minutes recommendation. It's a mental health podcast.
Well, no, I mean,
he
I
was
think
on
you
my
should
podcast.
absolutely wait, you said mental health podcast?
22 minutes, mental health podcast. So Tim McCarthy was on my podcast, and literally day or two later had Dane Cook on his podcast. So basically, I'm a jizz staying away from Dane Cook.
Oh, okay, but I'm going to go to that. But wait a second, mental health. So is he talking to Dane Cook about mental health? Because Dane Cook is a guy that I should have always thought had mental health issues. I love Dane Cook. I thought he was really, really funny, but he skyrocketed, right? And there's no way that mental health-wise that you can't, like, feel that, right? I mean, you can't just skyrocket and then drop and be normal. So is that what this is about?
That's exactly why that episode is a great example.
Holy shit. I love this.
Yeah.
Show me more.
Well, look, that's also why this guy is like 2 steps away from Jessica Simpson. Because
from Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
Dane Cook was
go on IMDb. The 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's like the 3 degrees of Jeff Macolino. At this point.
Macolino. Look, you remember like Dane Cook was enormous, man. I mean, from Waiting to the stand-up specials. I think he might have been the first guy I saw who did a stand-up that was in that whole 360, right? Where they were like doing the stand-up on the stage that was rotating. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Like there was a stage that was rotating. So there was a 360-degree crowd and he was doing stand-up, but it was constantly like the stage was rotating. I don't remember. There was something with Dane Cook with that. Dane Cook was enormous.
Are you talking about Are you talking about a buyer's event where you buy your prostitutes?
Kind of, maybe, but no, but it was Dane Cook. He was the prostitute we were buying. It was Dane Cook. No, Dane Cook was enormous, which kind of reminds me of, if we can just put it together, Dane Cook, Tosh, Daniel Tosh, Dane Cook, Daniel Tosh, Dane Cook, Daniel Tosh. I'm just saying they might be one and the same at this point. No, but
and
that's crazy.
What are we at this point?
No, we're just, dude, we're still the sad Asian dudes that are buying the hookers in the crowd. Like, we're still the guy, right? We're still the guys buying them. Like, but so just so we go further on this, like, does he actually dig into like mental health and Dane?
Oh,
Cook?
yeah.
Really? That is it.
Tim McCarthy, the 10 minutes. Subscribe to the show, man. He dives in. Dane Cook dives into this episode. That was one of the look.
That's crazy intriguing to me, man. Because that is a rise to superstardom that fell really quick. So I wonder what the mental health is that comes with that.
It's a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but didn't his brother like rip him off? Like Dane Cook's brother took a shit ton of money.
Yes,
from
he
him.
did. Yes,
right.
he did.
He did the LeBron James thing where he kept the family close and they all ripped him off.
I think it was a lot worse than that.
It's crazy.
But yeah, no, it's a yeah. I believe that's a quite bizarre situation.
No, I mean, I think because it was either his brother or his brother involved. There was somebody really close to Dane. Yeah, his brother. Like, that's, yeah, no, Jeff, you cued me into something I had no idea I was walking into here. I'm going to check out because I want to see this because I've always wondered how that completely, because, I mean, Dane Cook fell off pretty quick. It really was a shooting star, right? I mean, he went way up really fast.
Yeah, but he's back.
Is he?
Oh, we don't have to worry about Dane Cook.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's fine because he did really well.
By the way, Dan in real life, Steve Carell, Dane Cook's like a supporting actor in it.
Oh,
Great
yeah?
movie. Great
wow.
movie. Dan in real life.
Oh, Dan in real life. No, I love that. It's a great movie.
Yeah. With Steve Carell, great movie.
But it was really funny that there was a guy that kind of came out of nowhere, and this is why I kept just saying out of my head, Tosh.0, Daniel Tosh. Daniel Tosh kind of came out of nowhere, and he exploded, but it's kind of fallen a little bit. And then how do you rebound from that, right? Because it's a very different world than the Bert Kreischer that we talked about earlier. Bert, who just kind of gains that, and he just keeps rising, and Bert just keeps
Alcoholic
going.
Poser.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, for those who tell you that alcoholism doesn't pay, I mean, Bert Kreischer will tell you different. That's I really want to check that out. So 2010, right?
I mean that show that 10 minutes.
20-10 minutes. I'm absolutely going to check that out.
The link will be in the show notes.
Because the Sober Jeff put them there. And please.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, look, and everybody, we don't have an idea for next week, so give us something. We love the fact that everybody just kind of jumped in, checked it out last week. Give us something you want to hear us talk about, man. I mean, just some random clips or whatever we're going to do. Jeff and I will share our drunken dad facts on said show, and love to have you back again.
Amen, brother. Yeah, we got a lot of ideas. Help us jizz them out.
Beautiful word.
I'm wordsmith.
You really are. All right. Hey, Dad's with Drink Show. I can't do it as well as you with all the.
There we go. Peace out, folks.